Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday's Wrestling Talk. My name is Brent West, and along with the Bomber, Jack Lord, we will be bringing you pro wrestling inside and out live right here on Facebook and YouTube. Jack, we were supposed to be joined by Evan Ginsberg, but some technical difficulties kept us from doing it tonight.
Yeah, hopefully we can get him on one of our Monday night shows here pretty soon by phone. If we can't figure out how to do the actual video. 350 Days, if anybody hadn't watched it, man, it's a really great documentary. Covers a lot of the old time guys. And if you don't understand the reference to what that means, that guys back then, 365 days a year, 350 of them, they were on the road. It's a tough life, and it takes a lot out of you. On the other hand, everybody knew what they were signing up for too, but still very interesting documentary.
Well, now I can tell you, Dad enjoyed every moment of those 350 days. He did not like to be at home. He wanted to be on the road.
It was hard. I know. I didn't spend as much time as that on the road, but I was still on the road, 3-4 days a week, and I miss it. I still miss it.
All right, folks, if you have any questions, any comments, you can send them in today, because this is Tuesday's, what did we call that again, Jack? I'm going to tell you, I'm getting old. I'm forgetting.
Free. Tuesday night free for all.
Tuesdays free for all. So if you got anything you want to talk about, usually on Tuesdays we talk about some type of something. And I believe that next Tuesday, I don't have it in front of me right now, but we're going to do Brett Armstrong. I think it would be part 3. Am I correct? I think it was
part 3.
Part 3. So in the next episode, Brett Armstrong part 3. I was going to do it tonight, but I don't have it completely finished yet. So it takes a long time to do all that research and try to get the matches that they had and where they went and all that. So, but like I said, if you have any questions, but the first thing I want to show, and I think this is the first, because I'm going to tell just a brief story about these guys. Jack can tell a brief story when we throw a picture up. So I'm gonna throw this first picture up right there. Exotic Adrian Street. What is your memories? If you've got memories of Exotic Adrian Street, what is those memories? Now this is one of our first posts that we did on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. And this is when he was wrestling for Georgia Championship Wrestling Superstars. I think my most memorable thing of Adrian Street is when he kissed Terry Taylor on Mid-South Wrestling TV and won the Mid-South TV title. I think it really shocked the people in Louisiana. How about you, Jack?
Oh, man. I never saw a match of his that I didn't enjoy. He was always entertaining. I've always thought the world of him. Of course, my favorite memory of him was we did a 2-night show in Tuscaloosa several years back. Friday and a Saturday night, same arena, stayed at the same hotel, and I went down to grab a quick breakfast on Saturday morning, and we started at 7 o'clock, and at noon they said, guys, we got to make room for the lunch crowd, because we were still sitting there talking, hearing all those stories. And I miss Adrian. I love being around him.
Yeah, he is still a very, I talked to him not long ago, and he still can keep you laughing, no doubt. Will Willer said it is a very good 350 days. If you've not watched it, where can you watch that? Did you tell us where you can watch
Amazon Prime. There's several other outlets you can that it's on. You can Google those, but if you have an Amazon account, you have Amazon Prime, and it's free on there. And well worth watching. It's poignant. It's sad. It's shows the dedication these guys have.
Paul Hatchett asked 350 days. It has the Masked Superstar on it, right?
There's Greg Valentine. I mean, there's so many stars. You can't name them all. I mean, there's just a ton of the older guys that are on there. It's just real good, though, Paul. You need to look it up and watch it. I recommend it for everybody.
Kenneth Smith said, hey, guys, I got your cigar, Jack, and I expect my chair Saturday night. Saturday night, Georgia. Don't miss it. Be there, Rome, Georgia, Saturday night, whatever the address is. I know you've told me, but I forget every time. I'm telling you,
2561 Shorter Avenue.
There you go. Get there, be there, Saturday night, Rome, Georgia. How you doing, Terry Lestergraph? Evening, Brent and Hack. Bob Blackburn, we need to talk to you, Bob. We're going to get with you, get with Jack, and we're going to get you on a Tuesday and let you tell some stories about your time in professional wrestling. And we'll do that sometime. I think we can work that out sometime in July. Don't you think so, Jack?
Oh yeah.
Brian Bodie Green, can you post pictures of the junior heavyweight belt from Continental? I will see if I've got that belt, but I will try to see if I can post that. Is that the one? Now I wonder if that's the one that Alan Martin made one of the junior heavyweight titles.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So
I'll see Alan this Saturday. I'll ask him if he still got that.
I know he made a belt. And I don't know if Danny Davis kept the belt or not, but I'll try to find both pictures of them. Unfortunately, we didn't take pictures of really the belts back then.
Yeah.
I wish I took more pictures back those days, but we just didn't do it. Barry Miner, Saturday morning, and I watched Adrian Street. Adrian Street, yes, he's one of a kind. Adrian Street. Jeffrey Archer. Good evening. Now, Jeffrey's probably got some good stories he could tell us about wrestling. He grew up watching wrestling, so he could probably tell us some great stuff. Paul Hatchett said, I'll look it up. Yeah, do look it up. I think you'll enjoy it. Good evening to both of you. Thank you, Lynn. Chad said, when are the West Boys coming to the matches in Rome, Georgia? We were trying to get there this Saturday. I am in, not only do the wrestling business, I'm also in the printing business, but I'm also in the flea market business. And it opened back up the 1st of June. And at the time, we didn't know it was going to open back up. But I will try to get to Rome, Georgia soon. Are you hearing somebody trying to call me right now?
No, I can't hear it.
All right. I just want to make sure I'm trying. Somebody's trying to give me a call right now while we're on there. But Paul Hatchett. Mr. West, you come to Union Saturday. No, I will not be able to get there this time. I have just started doing the flea market, so I've got to stay there, and it's been down for 3 months, so we just came back. So we've got to stick around and try to make that. I'm looking for one Ken Timms War. All right, that would have been pre-Alan Martin then.
Yeah.
And so I will try to find that belt and get it over to you. Rita Cantrell. Hello, Rita.
Hey, Rita.
There's Tim Horner, the White Lightning. Tim Horner.
Hey, Tim. I had somebody ask if you were coming to the reunion Saturday. I'm going to tell them yes, because you are, right? Anyway.
Lynn said, good evening, JC. Glad to see some Memphis guys on here. So there's somebody on Memphis, is from Memphis. Will Willer. Hello. How you doing, Will? I'm guessing he had told somebody else hello, because I think we already said something to Will. Maybe not. Again, I'm telling you, that's the reason I started doing these podcasts and these live streams, because I'm telling you, the older I get, the more I forget things these days. So I'm thinking if it goes any further, 5 years from now, I'm not going to remember my name. So we got to get all this information in the next 5 years. I may not remember any of it. It's the flea market calling. Yeah, it could be the flea market calling. There's no doubt it could be. There's old Pat Rose. Pat Smith Rose right there.
Pat's going to be at the reunion Saturday, because I know where he lives, and I'll come find him.
Well, now, Pat just won't come on and talk to us here. I mean, it's hurting my feelings a little bit.
Pat's better than we are. What can I say? He's probably fishing. He's probably on a creek bank right now.
Well, I'll tell you something, Pat. I've been watching you for Mid-South Wrestling. Man, they should have pushed you harder than they did. You should have been pushed to the top. You were better than Steve Williams. I like Steve Williams, but you were a better wrestler than Steve Williams. You were a better wrestler than most of the people on that card, and you should have been pushed in Mid-South Wrestling.
Listen, friendship aside, Pat Rose is one of the best wrestlers that ever put on a pair of boots, in my opinion.
Yes. I agree. Watched his stuff from Mid-South Wrestling 1984. If you get the opportunity, watch it. It's all on YouTube, or if you got the WW Network. I think it's 1984 on the WW Network.
I believe so.
I believe it is. Watch all Pat Rose stuff, 1984. You will see how good he is. He made Tommy Rogers, Bobby Fulton look so good, and just watch it. One of the greatest wrestlers. There's no doubt. He does not get the credit he deserves. Heck yeah, from Pat Rose. Joe Ballou. Hello, guys. I'm coming to KLT Saturday night.
Good deal, Joe. Be good to see you.
Here we've got Stuart Kemp from Vancouver. It's at Washington, right? Vancouver, Washington. Pat Rose said, wow, thanks. It is the truth, Pat Rose. It is the truth. We're not just telling you because you're on here than that. You are definitely great. Jack, what cigar you want for your birthday?
A big one.
All right, let's look at another picture. Well, that was our call from Robert Walker. I'm sorry, Robert, if you're watching. We're on the line right now. But here is a picture. It's a small picture, but it's a picture of Gorgeous George Jr. and Ron West. And I say in the description that they're talking about the facts of life. Gorgeous George Jr. in his heyday was a very good wrestler. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm pretty sure they were probably going over a finish during this time. And now, who was allowed to be in the dressing room and take a picture? I don't know. At that point in time, but yeah,
back in those days, those pictures were pretty rare.
Yeah, so I'm not really for certain what it was all about. Here is another picture. I will throw that up again. This was from Continental Championship Wrestling. That is a very young Paul E. Dangerously, better known as Paul Heyman, Ron West, handcuffed at the Houston County Farm Center in Dothan, Alabama. Dad would be hit by one of his famous, Paul's famous cell phones or whatever phone he had at the time. He got hit several times during that run in Continental Championship Wrestling. We just lost Jack for some reason. I don't know why we lost him, but maybe he'll come back on. But we just lost him, but maybe he'll come back on in just a moment. Brian Bodie Green said, would love to hear Pat's take on Wow out of Pensacola. Wow out of Pensacola. It would be very nice to hear about that. This was running. Was this Wow? Wasn't it ran the same time Continental Championship Wrestling was running?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Didn't he do? Was he doing a Fargo gimmick, or did he wrestle with Pat Rose?
That I can't remember. I never did get to see any of the tapes from down there, so I don't know.
Because I think that was Rip Tyler's territory. I'm pretty sure. Bean Sato, there was nothing there. So
hey,
he must have. We're going to say hello to you and whatever. All right, let me throw a couple of more pictures up here. And see some other pictures these are all photographs that we had in post that we did at the first of this as we started Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. So these are the first pictures and posts that we did. Right here is Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, Paul E. Dangerously, Ronnie West referee, and he was actually special guest referee. And I believe this could have been in Dothan as well at the Houston County Farm Center. Jack, did you ever wrestle at the Houston County Farm Center?
Nope, that was one of the few towns I never hit in the state of Alabama.
Very, very good place for professional wrestling at the time. Here is a picture of Terry Funk, Dory Funk Jr., and Dory Funk Sr. You're talking about three people. That was some of the greats in professional wrestling. You have to give it to Terry Funk and Dory Funk and Dory Funk Sr. I don't know that I ever watched Dory Funk Sr. wrestle. Did you, Jack?
I saw some tapes, and he was. Obviously those boys were trained by him because they worked just like he did.
All right, Brian said that Kent and Pat were Fargos.
Gotcha.
So he did wrestle as a Fargo. I thought he did, but I wasn't for sure. Pat did a great Fargo in Memphis, which was not easy to do. This is true, especially during that time. Bob Blackburn said, awesome place. Yes, the Houston County Farm Center in Dothan, Alabama, one of the greatest places for wrestling. And you talk about fans that can get upset and mad. Them people can get upset and mad during that time. Would love to hear some good Pat Rose stories about his career. Well, Jack, do you have any that you can tell him? Because now we can't get Pat on here to talk about his career.
Well, I tell you what, I am going to make a trip one of these podcast nights and go to Pat's house and put him in a side headlock, or maybe he can put me in one. I don't care, but we'll get him. If maybe I can flip the phone over, which will capture both of us because we're kind of large. But if we put my phone in the kitchen and we sit in the living room, we might be able to make it.
Oh, Will said, Brent West, you have some cool stuff. I have a lot of pictures, and this is just a few of the pictures. I used to have a whole lot more, but I had a water heater bust, and it got all over my programs and all over my pictures, and it just put them and melted them to one little piece of brick of them. And that was the day that I truly cried. It was a truly day of crying because I had started getting this stuff from 1975. I would get up in the mornings, and Dad would always put the programs in his bag. And so the first thing in the morning, I'd get up there. Me and Rodney both would go get the program and see what it was. And almost every night, anywhere he went, because back then, especially in Atlanta, you had a program that came out for Georgia Championship Wrestling. You had one that came out for Columbus. You had one that came out for Macon. So, and then the Omni, if it ran, it had its own program. And then we had all the little cards, which I still have some of them cards somewhere. I don't know where that stuff went to. This would come out. This kind of stuff right here would come out, and this would be in the programs, all the time. And I have a ton of these. That I have posted in a time, but I probably there's probably 500 of these that I do have that didn't get messed up. They were in a separate place. I was doing something with them, but Jack, let's talk about something real quick. Let's talk about Russell South real quick. It is a wrestling company that y'all are starting, and let's just talk about it just briefly and tell us a little bit about Russell South.
Well, we're, of course, independent, but we're trying to be a next level independent. We do have some pretty good financial backing. The setup we have, any show you go to, they got good rings and sets and everything. But, we got like $200,000 worth of lighting, stage entrance sets, we got 2 different rings, ring barricades. We've got everything that to put on a visual show is probably bigger than anything you're going to see at the independent level, at least here in the Southeast. And we're going to be using a lot of talent from Tried and True Wrestling, which is Crimson's promotion and training school. We're going to be using some folks from Robert Gibson's training school. And our little ace in the hole that we've got is my partner and I, Mike Mason. Mike is the actual promoter. Some of y'all might remember Mike. Mike was a tremendous wrestler back in his day. But Bobby Eaton is going to be coming in and working with us, and he's going to be working in the back. Of course, he's going to be making appearances at all the shows, but primarily he's going to be working in the back with the young talent and, helping them develop. So, we're trying to offer something to these guys. If you're out there and you're busting it and you're trying to get in good shape, and, I say guys, I mean men and women. But we want to give you opportunities that you're not going to get any other place. And that's not putting anybody down. We're just trying to set ourselves apart. Not better, just different.
Well, I think you can go to WrestleSouth.com and look at it, and then go and follow them at Facebook.com/WrestleSouth, and they'll let you know when And I mean, a lot of things is going on right now that keeps wrestling companies from promoting wrestling. But go to that and follow their page, and when they're ready, and you'll know when wrestling's coming, because it'll be quality wrestling and something that you'll be proud of. If you are a old school wrestling fan, you will enjoy these wrestling matches, no doubt. Let's a couple more people have came on. Let's see. Jeffrey said. Pat was Donnie Fargo. Paul Lee was Jackie Jr. Are we talking about the Paul Lee from Georgia?
Yeah.
This is his pre-Nature Boy days, evidently. So, managed by Don Fargo in Memphis. Okay, I did not realize that Paul Lee was worked at that point.
Yeah, Paul worked in Smoky Mountain. He got around a little bit.
All right. So David Taylor said, "What was part of the? What's that? Who's that say? Was that Pat or Jimmy that WWE paid? He got his money and just left. They were pretty mad. I don't think it was Pat.
No, I don't believe it was Pat.
Are we talking about Jimmy Del Rey?
Possibly. I can't really remember the circumstance of how he left there.
Yeah, I don't know. I did. If this was probably in the 80s, late 80s, 90s, we were not too big fans of WWF. So
I actually just watched, I think it was Survivor Series 92 yesterday, and Jimmy and Tom were the heavenly bodies there in one of the Survivor Series matches.
Yeah, I don't know that. Did Pat ever wrestle in WWE?
I'm sure he did, probably as enhancement, because Vince has a tendency not to recognize real talent.
Stewart said, sadly, lots of us had the pictures, either lost them over time with the moves or what have you. Yes, I did some crying when I lost those, and some people gave them back to me. I've got them, tapes galore, but they're all on VHS. So I'd have to get those and then have a problem whether or not you showed it or not. And somebody tried to say that's their tapes. That's the thing today. So David said that's when you, Jack, and I were at WWF.
I don't remember. You can remind me of all that Saturday, David, because I don't remember. I've been
I've
so many
said
places.
This. That's the reason we are doing these shows now, because within 5 to 10 years, we're not even going to remember our names.
And I'm far ahead of you in years already.
Yeah. So we there may be. He said this was 1991. Me and Jack was working there.
I'll take your word for it.
But said Mike Jackson got Pat Booth. He got paid just because he said he wasn't good job. That sounds a little bit like Pat.
That does sound like Pat a little bit.
Yeah. No, not trying to, Pat, we love you, but that does sound a little bit better, especially in this time frame.
Well, so, Pat was just too good. He deserved better.
Yes, he did. He truly did deserve better than that. Let's look at a couple other pictures. Here is a picture, Darren. This is Lou Thesz's retirement match that happened in the Omni. I don't remember. It may have been on Thanksgiving night. I don't remember the date at this point. I may have it on the picture here. But here it is. Lou Thesz, 15-time world heavyweight. They say 15 times. Now, I don't know. Was he really a 15-time world heavyweight champion?
I have no idea.
They say that, but I don't know. He could have been, maybe he couldn't have been, but he did hold the title. This was 1979. His last match was against Crazy Lou Graham. Ron West is the referee, holding his hand up, and this will do. Lou Thesz was a quality guy. He really was. Don't you think, Jack?
Yeah, I got to work for what's his name? Mario Savoli, I believe,
yes.
From Broder out of New Jersey, I think. I got to do a show, TV tapings for him one time, and Lou and Les Thatcher were the commentators, and I got to spend a little time with Lou. And most of the guys were kind of scared of him, I guess. They didn't really approach him too much other than to say hi. But I hemmed him up in the corner and bent that ear. So he was a nice guy. I was always a fan anyway. The only picture that I have in my house that hangs up in my house is an autographed picture of Lou.
Yeah, Lou Thesz was, I did get that. I was very young. I was like 8 years old when he came through at that time, but he was very classy. He'd always come to you, and he'd always just say the same thing. Hello, I'm Lou Thesz. What's your name? It didn't matter who you were, and we were just little kids, but we were back there. So he made sure to come and say something to us. He was a class act.
And a little reference to that picture too. Crazy Luke Graham. I'm friends with his daughter Mandy, and she really didn't get to see a lot. She's a lot younger. She was just a kid when he quit, so she didn't really get to hear a lot of the stories. So, I whenever you post something or whatever, I usually tag her in that. Let her know a little bit more about her dad.
David said, "You don't remember me, Mr. West, but I did some of your manifests. Was he the one that wrestled as
Justin Rhodes?"
Justin Rhodes. Yes, very good wrestler, by the way. I'm glad you told me. I'm telling you, David. I'm getting older. I'm hitting that 50-year-old deal soon. September 13th, I'll be 50 years old, and I'm telling you, I'm losing part of my brain cells. So I do remember you great, and you had great matches. Great wrestler. Now, does he wrestle with you? And
he needs to.
David, you need to get back in. You were a spectacular wrestler. Get back in the ring. You were so good. You were just magnificent. So get back.
He's about your age, but I'm gonna tell you what, David is in shape. He looks great, man. He could pass for 30.
David, you knew to do that. See, I'm not in great shape, so
well, that was kind of a sideways deal.
Charles, thank you so much for being a part of it. Charles always got great posts when he posts about our. Thank you so much, Charles, for being a part of Pro Wrestling Inside Now. Well, we want to thank everybody for being a part of it. We have grown. We're a week ago, we were at 500 subscribers on YouTube. We're now at 524, so we've grown in about a week's time, 24 more people. And once we get to a certain level, there's so many things that we want to do. It's just whether or not we can find the time to get everything that we want to do. But for us to grow, it's going to take some time, and it's going to take building this up to give us the opportunity to be able to do a lot of the things that we do want to do. David said, "I would love to." Thank you, sir. Is he saying he would love to wrestle?
He better.
Well, he needs to get there Saturday night. Get there. And he did say he'll see you Saturday, Jack. Well, you need to. You were very good. I've got those tapes somewhere. I need to show them one day if I can get them digitized. I got to show the match that he had. I believe it could have been in Tennessee somewhere, up in Tennessee somewhere. But I've got most of those tapes that we could play on here, and I think people will enjoy them. Bruce Smokey, looking forward to seeing you Saturday, Jack.
Hey, Bruce, good to see you.
Love listening to the both of you. Well, thank you so much, Kenneth. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for being a part of Pro Wrestling Inside Now. Let's show another picture here. Here is pre-Hulk Hogan. He was not Hulk Hogan yet. He was Sterling Golden in 1979 for Southeastern Championship Wrestling. Ron West, the referee. Boy, he was not that great back then. Now, he could take a butt whipping pretty good. But other than that, he was not that good.
He and Austin Idol tagged up briefly in Georgia. And I thought that was probably one of the best looking tag teams I'd ever seen. That was, as far as ring stuff, it wasn't that great, but man, they came out. They were so muscled up, had the same matching gear, everything. That was impressive. I was disappointed when Terry left. I don't know whatever happened to him.
We're going to talk about, for some reason, people just, I don't know what. I don't know if it's because of things that's been said about them. I don't know why, but people seem to not like Hulk Hogan. I know he said some stuff he should have said.
Sure.
But as far as his career, I mean, he had to work to get to where he was at.
Well, I don't think that wrestling would be where it's at. Certainly WWE wouldn't be where it's at without him shouldering that burden for so many years. I mean, he was legitimately the biggest star of the 80s and later on made a huge impact in the 90s too. So, not many guys have that long a career and make a difference in the career.
Yeah, I've always respected him. He was always nice to me. I didn't see him many times, but I seen him 2 or 3 times throughout the years. I mean, after 1979, after you went to work for Vince, but he was always nice to me.
Well, and for those people who say that he can't wrestle, you need to go pick up some of those YouTube channel posts from him in Japan.
Yes.
Man, he could, he was as good as anybody that ever went over there.
Yeah, he really worked. He worked completely different than he worked here. In the WWF, he did what he was told. That was the match they told him to have. That was his formula match, and that's the one they told him to have. But when he went to Japan, completely different.
Well, and for whatever reason, Ric Flair did the same thing. Back early in his career, he had a different match every night. But as he got a little bit older, and by the time he hit WCW and WWE, Flair's matches were always the same too, which they were still great matches.
Yeah.
But you saw the same stuff every time. So I never understood why Hogan got heat for it, but Rick didn't.
Yeah, I don't know how.
And neither one of them deserved heat.
No,
one of them deserved it.
I told him one time we was in Bristol, Virginia, and I told him, I said, you would think you would learn to run up on that second rope. After a while, you figure you're going to get slammed off of it. You think you would learn after a while. That's not going to work out for you. I said, the guy sitting on the third row said, man, why does he do that every time? Jeez, you think he'd learn? Poor old Ric Flair. But everybody had formula matches. So everybody had their formula that worked, and it worked good territory days because you could go do that formula for 6 to 8 months and go to somewhere else and do that same formula, and 3 years later come right back to that territory. And a lot of times it was different wrestling fans, so people never remembered it. So Bert Epps, Bert Epps, Jack?
Hey, yeah, Bert and I were in the same unit in Germany at different times. We have that unit over there has a unique fellowship that I've never experienced anywhere else with my military service. And we had guys from the 60s all the way up to the 90s when it was disbanded that, we get together and have annual reunions or semi-annual reunions. I hadn't got to make one yet. We were going to do San Antonio this year. Of course, all this happened. But Bert's one of my brothers.
All right. Hello, Bert. Thank you so much for being on here tonight. Jennifer Brannon Lyman. You need to bring some wrestling to Chattanooga, Jack.
Hey, Jen, here's the secret. I'm working on it.
Well, I do want you to know there is another wrestling company coming to Chattanooga. I don't know if you heard that or not.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we won't say this, but I just heard that today. But I did hear that as the crow flies. I heard some stories about that. David Lawson, why does Paul Lee have so much heat? Every time somebody mentions his name, nothing good is said. Well, anyway, let's Lynn Gross. No, I have no.
Well, no, and I personally don't. There was a lot of guys that do because of the ECW. I mean, you either liked ECW or you didn't. I did like a lot of ECW. I understood what they were doing. They made an impact, and here we are. 20 years after they closed the door, we're still talking about them.
I'm just looking at that again. He said Paul Lee.
Oh,
wait, I'm sorry. I thought he said something else. He said Paul Lee. I guess.
Yeah.
Paul Lee. Let's go past that one then.
Yeah, we'll let Pat put Paul over.
I don't have a problem with Paulie. He's always been nice to me. I think his problem is the differentiations between Nature Boy Paulie and Paulie. There should be two different people.
There's an old saying in the dressing room: "Don't work a worker."
Yes.
So, there you go. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Lynn, well, I just turned him off. Lynn said, next time you see Doug McKay stretch.
I was hoping Doug was going to make it over Saturday, but I hadn't heard if he's going to or not. I love old Doug.
Yeah, I like
Doug is a brother from a different mother.
Tim Truitt, hey Jack, Saturday night I'm doing a run in.
I've seen you run. That won't result in anything happening.
All right. I did not say one thing, Tim. I am trying to be. Last night I was the heel. I'm trying to be babyface tonight. So.
Well, Tim is old. If you're going to say something, you got to speak up. So.
Whoa! All right. He would let loose in New Japan. He's talking about Hulk Hogan. Yes, he would. He did. He really worked hard. Kenneth also said Rick said he liked taking the bump on a podcast, and he kept doing it because the fans loved it.
They did. Every town that he went to, he did the same bumps. He got the same response. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, if it works, keep on doing it. Now, if people are, let's say this: if they're continuously buying tickets, keep on doing it. Now, if they quit buying tickets, don't do it any longer. That's
my leg drop never sold a ticket, unlike Hogan's. So.
Here is a photograph that we did earlier on, and it says wrestler returns to fairgrounds in Nashville, Tennessee. And as you see, Lynn Rossi, and the middle man is George Goulas. He's doing, I believe, evidently he was doing commentary, and Bearcat Brown. Bearcat Brown, one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. He had this leg thing that he would do that was spectacular, and I still remember it. I was just 5 years old, and I can just remember that. Now my most wrestling 2 and wrestling 1 is the one that I can remember vividly. That's the only thing I can remember about Bearcat Brown. He was well. Now I want you to know, Tim said he'll do a walk-in. So he's going to do the Roddy Piper and Don Morocco, where he just walks in, takes his coat off, knocks Don Morocco with some quarters, knocks him out, puts his jacket back on, and just leaves. That Omni went crazy that night, by the way. The Omni went completely nuts. Roddy Piper was so good at that point in his career.
I just got Don Morocco on my Facebook a few days ago, too.
Here's a picture of some great women wrestlers. Winona Littleheart, which I think we just lost.
Yes, she just passed away recently.
Leilani Kai, Joyce Grable, the Fabulous Moolah, Vicki Williams, and Judy Martin. Great lady professional wrestlers right there. There's none better.
If we had Velvet McIntyre in that picture, I believe we would have the greatest women of that era.
I agree. They were some great lady wrestlers, no doubt. There's Winona Littleheart right there. We did lose her. I never knew that she was a sister of
Peggy Lee.
Peggy Lee. I never realized that. Never knew that till just recently. There we got a picture of Mr. Wrestling number 2. We just lost him, and I think Robert was calling me to tell me some information about it, and we will share that information of funeral arrangements and stuff for Wrestling 2 in the next few days. There's a picture. Tommy Rich and Rick Martel, Georgia Tag Team Champions. Mm-hmm. Jack, did you get to see these guys wrestle?
I got to watch them on TV, and I never got to see them. Well, I never got to see Rick in person. Of course, I had a lot of experience with Tommy, but Rick Martel, man, that guy, the way he looked, the way he got over with fans, and he could go.
Oh,
I mean, he's probably one of the better guys I saw back in that time, and was good up till the day he retired. Still looked better than most of the guys in the locker room.
He got fired 3 times in Georgia. 3 times. But I don't know why. I think maybe he wanted more money. I'm not for sure, but I know he got fired in the early parts. He started wrestling in the early 70s. And he got fired that time. He came back for a little stint, got fired again, and he got fired this time when he was there as well. So 3 times he was fired. I don't know. I don't think he got along with Jim Barnett. I'm just thinking he just didn't get along with him for whatever
Apparently
reason.
not. I believe he's in real estate now or something. I saw a picture. It's been a few months back, but he's closing in on 70 if he's not there now, and he still looks great.
I could be wrong. He could have been 2 times, but I'm pretty sure I read 3 times, and I think he was the one that was talking about it. So I'm not saying anything that he hadn't talked about on a shoot interview. So, Doug Masters. Hey, Doug Masters. How are you?
Hey, Doug.
Do you know Doug, Jack?
Just through Facebook. We've never had the opportunity to meet.
I've never met him either, but
of course, I didn't think I'd met Randy Hogan either till we both got to thinking about it, and we actually had worked several shows together. So, don't go by me, Doug. I apologize.
Don Morocco posted he accepted a ton of people as he is not traveling due to health.
Yeah, he's not leaving the islands.
Does he live in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Chris Stutter, greatest lady wrestler, my friend Joel Scrable. I will agree.
Will not argue with that at all. I think the world of Joyce. I've seen her knock some guys out in the ring a few times. So yeah, she's great.
She can take care of herself. There is no doubt she could take care of herself. I didn't talk to her that often, but she was around when we were growing up and had some great matches. Probably some of the best lady matches I have ever watched was her. I mean, that's no doubt some of the greatest matches. And then Bambi and Peggy Lee Leather had to come.
Yeah, I think Bambi patterned a lot of what she did after her, and she was tremendous. Still such a sweet woman too. I mean, I always look forward to running into her.
Hello, Larry Brock.
Hey, Larry.
The most hated referee ever in Continental Championship Wrestling. All right, Southeastern Wrestling for that. And I think Gulf Coast Wrestling. I think he refereed for all 3: Gulf Coast, Southeastern, and Continental, and probably whatever else wrestling company. I'm not for sure when we did Turnbuckle. Larry, did you referee during that time? Again, I'll have to go find that information somewhere, but I'm thinking maybe you did. But I have to have it written down for me these days to remember anything. All right, let's go look at a couple of more pictures and then we'll look at a couple more, and then we'll call it a night. Here's a picture. Southeastern Championship Wrestling, a very young Robert Fuller, and Bullet Bob Armstrong. And this is one of the programs that they had back in the day. And here is a picture of Lee Majors. And that man is Bigfoot, but that is Andre the Giant.
Yep. I remember that episode.
It was called The Secret of Bigfoot, which aired on February 1st, 1976. And Andre did not finish it. I think it was a 2-parter, and he didn't finish it. The guy from maybe Gold Member actually finished it. Andre had some other stuff he had to do, so he did not get to finish it. But Andre the Giant, I remember watching this show. I remember watching it, and Dad telling us all about it because Andre had told him all about it. Lee Majors was the only person who could drink as much as Andre the Giant.
I saw Lee Majors last year, and he saw me at my wrestling table at this convention thing, and he said, "You know Andre?" And I lied and said, "Yeah," and he was happy. That was it.
Dad said that Andre said that was the only man that ever could drink as much as he could. He could drink as much. Now that is saying a lot.
That's a lot.
Maybe he was really the $6 million man.
Could have. Well, he had those hollow legs, I guess. So.
Yeah, so maybe he could. He could do it. He said, Jeffrey said, by the way, Jack, cool shirt. Saw the video again today. What shirt do you have on? Badge Street.
Yeah. This is, we were talking about Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow. This is his company, and it's their tribute to the Freebirds. They have some great products, great T-shirts, all kinds of wrestling products and wrestling T-shirts, all kinds of stuff there. And support Al because he's probably one of the smartest guys in the business now that nobody's utilizing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. He is probably one of the smart. That and him and Ricky Morton, I think,
Yeah.
have to go up there as being the. Mike Schaefer said that Larry Brock was the dirtiest referee ever.
I'll vote for that.
So evidently he did some nasty stuff. I know I saw him hit a couple of wrestling fans during his time. I watched that personally. I seen him do that. People trying to jump him, and he was one tough person. I can tell you that. Stuart Kim said, talk about the commission, what they do or don't do. I know I saw Russell South posting about one city in Alabama at a time. What other issues are there?
Well, basically, they're just tying everybody's hands up right now. You can't, they'll only permit one show in the state per day. So, we're also under, we got boxing, we got MMA events, we got professional wrestling, and everybody's just having to dig for, whatever date. And they refuse to reserve dates for you. It's basically as whoever gets your money in for a permit first and they want to sanction you, then you get to run. If not, you get that 14th Amendment violation where they'll make you buy a license but won't let you do business in the state of Alabama. Oh, and our one arena that he was mentioning, it's new. It's being completed. It's a 3,200 seat arena, and we're tentatively scheduled for September. Of course, a lot of it has to do with not only the commission, but the numbers of the COVID-19 are going up. We, could possibly be, the whole country be shut down again by then. So, we're up in the air, but we're also looking at places in Tennessee, Georgia. We're not going to be stuck in one place. We're going to move around and see what we can do to get our name out there and build up something.
Mandy said, "Hi, Jack Lord."
There she is, Crazy Luke Graham's daughter.
Crazy Luke Graham. I'll tell you a story, Mandy, about your dad. We were doing he came in and he was a big star for Nick Goulas. For Nick Goulas Wrestling, he was a huge star. And Georgia Championship Wrestling took it over in 1980, somewhere around 1980. And Dad went to Nick Goulas one time. He said, listen, he went to Jim Barnett and said, I want to do a show for Nick Goulas. And I want to bring in Luke Graham. Luke Graham he was wrestling for Georgia Championship Wrestling anyway. So that night they do an elimination match and your dad's in the match. Well, he had got eliminated by somebody cheated him out of it. And so at the end of the match, there's three guys just pounding on Tommy Rich. I mean, they were just pounding on him. I can't remember what three guys it was, but I remember Crazy Luke Graham on the stage, and he was walking going one way, looking at the ring, going one way, looking at the steps. The people were going crazy. I mean, these people were going crazy. And he finally would go down the steps, and he'd come back up, and the people, they were with it. And when he finally hit them steps and came out there and he hit those people. And wrestling fans in the South, they whoosh. Every time somebody hits, it's a whoosh. That building was exploding with whooshes, and then people were standing for Crazy Luke Graham. And you know what? Georgia Championship Wrestling never returned the match with Crazy Luke Graham on the main event. And we did not understand why they didn't do that. They had the opportunity to really draw great money with Luke Graham and Tommy Rich. And it was during the time he was feuding with Buzz Sawyer. So Buzz Sawyer was one of the people. Chick Donovan might have been the other one. And Pat Rose might have been the other guy in the ring. I can't remember, but Tojo Yamamoto was there that night. George Goulas. I think George got eliminated first. I'm not for sure. I think he didn't get eliminated first. So, but he said today is the anniversary of his death. Sorry to hear that, because Crazy Luke Graham, what a history! What a history! We're going to have to do a whole show and bring Mandy on and talk about Crazy Luke Graham, because there's no doubt he made an impact on professional wrestling like no other, and we really need to let the people know who he was and what he did in professional wrestling. Larry Brock, Jack, did you ever work for Fred Ward?
I set the ring up for him. I never got to wrestle for him. That was in my just ring boy days. That's what I'm still in service to. And I like Fred. He's really, really nice man.
Dad always, Ole and Fred never got along because Fred didn't like to have heat. And every time he'd go out there and change, he would reverse a decision because somebody did something and Ole got mad and wouldn't come back for a long period of time. And that's how Bobby Eaton and Ted Oates got on the main events for weeks there because Dad was handling it and Ole wasn't going to be there. So he they drew better houses with Ted Oates and Bobby Eaton in the main event there in Columbus, Georgia, than they were drawn in Atlanta. And that's saying a lot for the time. But Bobby Eaton, Ted Oates, great matches. Did you ever see those matches?
I never did see those. I was there 80 and 81 for the full years. And, man, there was some tremendous stuff there, when I was there.
Jeffrey said, Mandy, your dad was a good one. I remember them turning him and teaming him with Jackie Fargo in the Goulas days. It popped. Yes, it did. That was the television program to get ready for that was tremendous. That was tremendous. And at some point, we actually had video of that. What happened to it, I don't know. But that video has disappeared throughout the years. I don't know if we lost it as we moved, but we had video of that, of that actual show. Mandy said, thank you. You're certainly welcome. Jack, before we leave, is there anything that we need to discuss? We tried to be nice tonight. He wasn't too nice on the wrestling conversation. So if you haven't watched the wrestling conversation, you might want to go see that with the lights out.
I don't know that we were not so nice last night. I mean, there's a lot of things that's going on in the business right now that's not nice. And we just address those things. And, there's still repercussions. There's still things coming down. I saw where Sammy Guevara, I can never pronounce his name the right way. He's one of the AEW guys that got caught. He made some stupid, young guy mistakes, said some stuff a few years back. And, I got to hand it to him. He has got out ahead of that. He he called Sasha Banks, who he made the statements about, and apologized. He has, issued statements. The kid made a mistake. He screwed up. He done something he thought was funny, and it wasn't funny. But I think he'll come back. And as far as AEW, he's got a future there. And I hope that this really doesn't slow him down too much. Hopefully he'll be back in a few months. A lot of these other guys, they're still in the denial game or whatever, with multiple folks accusing them. And you get what you pay for in this business. And as far as Jim Cornette, you need to go listen to his podcast. And if he don't put that in place, I don't know what else will, because he really don't care. I kind of see his point.
Yeah, Jim Cornette does not care. I don't always agree with Jim Cornette, but he does tell you the way it is. And instead of us telling you, you need to listen to the guy that it actually was told about. Yep. Folks, we want to thank you so much. We want to thank everybody. If you have been a part of Pro Wrestling Inside and Out from the beginning, or you're just becoming a follower, we want to thank you so much. We have a lot of things scheduled and planned. We have a lot of things we're going to talk about professional wrestling, and we love professional wrestling. Not only the old stuff, but there's the stuff of the new stuff that we also like to talk about on occasion. I know some people don't want to hear sometimes about the new stuff, but it's part of the pro wrestling business. And whether we like it or not, it is part of the pro wrestling business. Don't you agree, Jack?
Yeah. It's where we are.
It's where we're at in professional wrestling. Now we do talk more about the old days than we talk about new stuff. Because that's what we know, because that's what I grew up in.
Well, that's what we were part of. Now we just view, and I don't mind viewing. There's a lot of stuff I like nowadays. So we're not down in the product. Some tremendous athletes out there, guys. I mean, these men and women do stuff that I couldn't even imagine doing.
And the pro wrestling business is a hard business anyway. So when we're saying anything about Bruce Pritchard or the writing or anything about that, we know how hard it is to write a program. We know how it is to come up with finishes. We know how hard it is to come up with especially when you're doing hours upon hours upon hours of television. So we understand that. We give our views, but in the end, we're not the ones that have to do the daily stuff and make it work. We respect everybody that is out there. We respect WWE. We respect the AEW. We respect anybody that's promoting professional wrestling. It is a very hard business to promote and a very hard business to be in. And we appreciate every one of them. And we're going to start talking about a lot of those wrestling organizations. Some of the independents, we're going to try to talk to them and bring them on and let some of these newer wrestlers, we're going to let them talk a little bit. So we hope you've enjoyed this show. If you're watching on Facebook, please like and share it. And if you're on YouTube right now, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because in the future, there'll be a lot of interesting things that we're going to be bringing to the YouTube channel, and also a lot of new things that we're going to be looking in the future for the Facebook. Jack, thank you so much for being a part of the show tonight. Thank you for being a part of it, and we will see you on the next episode of Pro Wrestling Inside and Out Live.